Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Wiki Up Knoll Off Grid. Thanks for joining us for another update here in southeast Arizona. You can see we have sunny skies this morning and we have clouds for later. So we're gonna work while it's sunny. It's been about 2.5 days of rain, which is wonderful for November. We ended up with almost a half an inch. That's so great for here. And we are now going to work on some cob while we can in the sun, in the warm, and let the sky shine down on all our battery banks and get them filled up, because tomorrow we're supposed to have more rain. If you've been with us for a while, you know we have this pole barn we've been building mostly out of cob, and it got to where we couldn't hardly film inside for those inside parts. We were a little dark and a little funny angles, but we did finish these walls over here and got all our shelving in, and now we've been able to start organizing a little better. Now it's time for us to work on our west wall, which is over here, and it was exposed during summer monsoon. You can see the straw is showing a bit more. That's normal because this has not been plastered with finished lime plaster yet. So today, while it's nice, we are going to be working on putting more cob and filling the gaps, covering the straw, putting fresh stuff, and then finishing the stack up here so we can get this wall closed in. And then all we have left is a little bit on that north wall. So after that, we'll be ready for plaster, and I am so excited for that day. But while we can, in the nice weather, we're going to work on this. And then, of course, later on, we'll show you what we've been getting up to in the greenhouse. We've been continuing to work on that off camera, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a few. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephanie.
This is our cob setup. We are enjoying the sunshine. Like I said, rain is great, but we've been in it for a little while. So this is what it's looking like over here. You've seen me putting it on sort of a plaster style. We'll be building with the cob a little later up in this section, but with this wall being our thinnest and our most exposed, we wanted to rebuild some of those gaps. You can see there's still some little dips and dives in there that I'll fill in as I go. And I'm leaving these bottle feature openings. These are wine bottles, and they let a little light in for the evening sun shines through here. And since this wall is really the only wall inside that doesn't have shelving and storage and all of that on it, we decided to practice a little bottle glass feature on this wall. John is mixing the cob over here. I'm using it, and the first batches, because we're doing it plaster style, are more wet and loose. They're not as buildable inside here, but it's basically clay, sand, and straw. We like to do ours a little straw heavy. The straw is the fiber that kind of sort of holds it all together. And you can see that after a season of use, the straw is still there. The dirt washes off, but you can just put it right back on. This is not the finished plaster. This will be lime plaster when it's all said and done, but this will hold us until we get to that lime section. So I'm gonna put it on a tripod, and I'll show you how I put the cob on in just a moment. All right, so I'm here. I've got the camera set so you can see a little close-up and a regular speed for the application of our plaster style cob. So first thing to show you is I use these little, I think they're called diamond grip gloves, just because working in the clay with raw skin showing, really it rubs on you after a while. It's like sandpaper. So this makes it a little easier to clean up, and I like it. So here's our wall. It is wet because it's been raining. Otherwise I would pre-wet this with a sprayer, but it is wet because, like I said, we've had plenty of water in the atmosphere. This is the fresh stuff that I just did. I'm going to apply down here, and what I do is I just get a wad of this cob, And the first technique that sometimes I do is if I've got a little dip or a dive somewhere that's like a deeper hole, you can get just a little handful and actually just throw it and then always rub it up in an upward direction like that. And it kind of sticks to the wall with that force. So that's one technique. Some people love to do that only. I like to do that in sometimes, and then other times I like to do this other technique where I use my, like I said, my left hand. I kind of use this as a hopper. I guess that's what it's called. I can't remember actually, don't quote me. So I put my cob mixture, a plaster mixture here, and then I use this as my spreading tool. So I hold it against the wall and then I just rub it in an upward direction to blend it with the cob that I just put on there. So that's what I've been doing. You've seen it in fast mode. That's what's happening in real time. And then for some reason, maybe you people that are professional plasterers out there know, it tends to hold on better if you go upward, but as soon as you go down, it falls right off. So you can see, see that happen. So you always go up for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but that's the way it is with plastering. And then you can smooth it like that. It's the same technique we'll use when we get to lime plaster, but right now I'm basically trying to build out this wall and make it a little thicker at the base. This one got thinner because when we did the bottle walls, I made sections built around those bottles, and I realize now I need to go back in and beef it up a little bit before I build on top of it even more. So that's the technique, that's what we're doing, and I'll show you what it looks like on fast mode. Okay, there is the cob plaster that we'll be doing for today. We can't make it too thick or it might try to slump off before it cures. So we're gonna let that cure and move on to the building portion up here. John's mixing a little less wet and loose mixture. You can see he can build it up into a big mound in the middle. That tells you it's ready. It holds its own shape. He's built a little mound castle right there in the tray, and that's how we want it for the building portion. So we're going to do that next, and then we'll check in just a moment. All right, here is the look of it. I had a little leftover in that last batch, so I put that on the bags down here. It's the same process for the bags as it is to the cob. The cool thing about using these red hybrid over bags is they have this, it's like an onion bag. I think I've told you that in the past. The texture is, and it has UV treatment, so it'll stay for several years without breaking down. But it lets you get to the dirt inside to bond the outer layers of plaster, and it also creates a little scratchy coat. So when you put plaster on it, it does adhere pretty well to that. So that's good. We could only go about 6-8 inches. That's how it is when you're building with cob, because if you go too high and it's still wet, it'll slump and bow out and your wall will be misshapen. So I added one bottle here. This is the last bottle in this little trio of glass bottle features, and we're gonna let this set up and then come back tomorrow. And tomorrow's session, we won't be doing the plaster, we'll just be building it up. So our goal now is to close this gap, probably have about 3 more sessions. I think it's a little lower in the middle, you can see. So we'll see how many more layers we need to put on there to close this thing in. It is looking really, really cool. It's kind of fun that you can do this with local dirt. Nothing more local than digging the dirt off the hill and bringing it up here and building a structure out of it. So really fun. Hope you're enjoying this process. Oh, we'll see what's next. I don't know if it'll be here or the greenhouse or the house. We'll just have to see. All right, we just got another row on the pole barn west wall. You can see that here. Everything is set up well enough to take another row. It's the next morning. We're hoping that we can get another row today in the afternoon if this sets up enough for that. You can see that yesterday's layer is firm but still wet, so you can see the total on this side that we've built it up over the course of the last 2 days. So that's what we've done. That's what we're working on. We're going to keep doing that. I am working to build out the wall with that plaster layer so that I can keep everything kind of plumb and true between the corner posts. So you'll see me adding to the depth there. There's no bulges. If I look like this, you can see dips where the glass bottle features are, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. So we're going to keep on trucking. Next thing you'll probably see will be down in the greenhouse. What do you think, Ringo? Is that a good idea? Zip's like, yeah, I'll just wait here. Okay, you can see us working on this east side of the ramp today. You may have noticed that off camera, John and I spent some time finishing up to dirt level, kind of grade level out there on this side in the northeast corner. We've actually made it to the point where we did one solid bag along the top and behind the rails so that when we get those sections of bags up higher, we can run a solid bag all the way along that surface. So we're making progress, making gains, and we've made enough gains on this side so that it's time to tie this wall in again. I believe once we get this ramp section up to tie-in stage, we'll be able to go ahead and finish it off to grade level right here. You can see what I'm doing up the ramp up here. I'm kind of staggering it on both ends, like a stair step situation, and then you'll see how we cap this off when the time comes. But it is looking good. The grade or the slope of it is there. You can see if I get down like this, it slopes against that wall. That's what we're keeping here. We're not doing plumb walls down here. Again, we're doing retaining walls in this section. So you can also see that slope here. So it keeps a nice slope all the way up and stacks against, so gravity can help solidify all these walls into the future. So we're making gains. We're going to keep on making gains on that ramp section, and then I'll let you see what it looks like in a moment. Okay, that's the look of it. We've gotten that far as the tie-in. We have another bag section to do, but for now it's time for lunch. We're going to break, have some lunch, come back, see what we can get done, and then check on our cob to see if that's set up enough. This is looking good. I like the angle, I like the slope of it against that wall of the ramp, and it is nice and solid and feeling good. Okay, this wall is coming slowly but surely. We have probably one more bag section to do, but since we added like 6 or so layers, today we're gonna let that set up. We are fully locked in up here. You can see it was getting a little awkward for us, so John had to do the filling and tamping over there because it's hard to reach. This wall is retreating little by little, so I can't reach up over it anymore. So that's cool. Next time we're down here, we'll cap this off with a big bag and then finish this section with little bags, and this will be done. Woohoo! Now it's time for us to go check on that cob and see if we are able to add another layer. Right, one more layer on the books for this cob wall. John's got the tarp back up for the evening, and we're gonna see what it looks like tomorrow. For the video, not sure what'll come next, but we'll show you when it's time. Next up for this video is actually down here at John's little house, our guest house. We have someone coming to stay for a few days, so we don't want to be down here bothering him. John's getting the table saw out, and we're going to be cutting some of this plastic. It's greenhouse plastic. It's like a corrugated, it's almost like a corrugated cardboard material, but it's plastic. It's made for greenhouses. They sell it at Lowe's. This is a 4x8 sheet, and we need to cut 2 of these sheets into 6-inch wide strips, and I'll explain more about that later. But we're getting very close to putting some plastic on that greenhouse, so we're going to work on that here in a moment, and then we'll catch up with what's next. Okay, we are back at the greenhouse. You just saw us down there cutting all this plastic into usable pieces. We're going to use that in just a moment. I'll show you that. But off camera, we also finished this side of the ramp wall. We're up at ground level. We have backfilled. It is settling. Everything is looking nice. The slope is where we want it. We are moving right along on this section. We tied in the last section here, and then we have a bag to do that way with the regular size bag. So everything looks great. I am going to show you what we're going to be doing with those plastic pieces all cut down slim right up here at the corner. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephanie.
We are back up here in the corner on top of the dirt level. We'll be working up here today on these sides, on this corner sections of the greenhouse on both sides. So when we ordered this structure, 2 things. We talked with our salesperson who helped us with what we want to do specifically, and they included this little bracket, which is extra. It's not structural to this support, but it's here to allow us a flat surface, a right angle, or not exactly a right angle, but a flat surface on both sections to attach our guttering system and our overhangs for appropriate water collection, because our goal with this greenhouse is to grow food, obviously, but with a roof this big, this is almost 60 feet by 20 wide with a pitch, so it's a big roof. We should be able to collect a lot of water to support the things growing in here. But in order to collect the water, we need to have a gutter system. Now, we have an option to put rigid plastic, greenhouse plastic, just like this corrugated that we just cut, or they even sell the ones that's like, I don't know what to say, it's like a rippled one, I'm forgetting the word all of a sudden, but they sell those panels, rigid plastic panels that you could put on here, screw them directly to these purlins, just as it's designed for a metal roof or plastic or whatever. But we decided to go with a sheet plastic or wrap plastic because economically it's better for us, and we can control a few other things with that application. So that's what we're doing. But because we're doing a wrapped plastic, sheet plastic, instead of rigid panels, it creates an issue where we're going to have a hard time with getting an overhang on this section to drip into our gutter system. So with wrapped plastic, it would just come over the edge and be flush here. So any water that's coming on the roof would just run down. We don't want that. We want a gutter. We want to collect it and use it. So we got to create an overhang, and that's what we're doing here. I'm going to use this little piece of wood, which is basically a shim that's been cut down to 6 inches to match the width that we cut here. And we're going to screw this on here to add rigidity to our greenhouse plastic, which will go across here in this manner. And then when we put our sheeting, our plastic sheeting over this will be firm enough to wrap under and connect here underneath it. And then we'll have an overhang that's at least 2 inches, which is what's recommended for the gutter size of 5 inches that we will be putting on this structure. So that's what we're working on right now. That's what we're going to do. We cut this corrugated plastic in this direction so that it would naturally have more rigidity this way. It'd be less apt to bend with a little bit of pressure on it wrapped around it. If we'd have cut it the other way, it will easily bend with that corrugation because that's the way it's designed. It's got those little ribs in there. So that's what we're doing. Hopefully it'll make more sense as we go, and we'll show you what that looks like in a moment. All right, there is the look of it. Hopefully you could see what we're doing here. I created a little bit of a washer out of this extra. We had strips at the end of both of the big 4x8 sheets that we just cut off in about a 2-inch section so that I could use it as a big bulky washer, just to give a little bit of something extra for the screw to attach to and to dig into there. So it's looking good. It, I think, is going to serve the purpose. We're going to try it and see. The plastic that we got for our roofing is supposed to have a 4-year UV minimum treatment opportunity, so it should at least, hopefully for our zip code, last 4 years. We will see how it goes, and when it's time to replace that, if this hasn't served us well, we can of course replace this with more rigid wood, cedar plank, something like that. But we'd like to try something that's a little less rot and moisture resistant, like plastic, in it for the first go round. So that's what it looks like. It's attached all the way down the line. We have not yet done the other side because before we do that, we still have to get this other corner of bag. So I'll update you when the time is right for that. Next thing you'll probably see on this video is us doing another round of cob on our pole barn. We are inching towards the top, so we'll show you that in a few. Okay, there it is. That is the layer for today. We're able to do about 1 layer a day, as I've mentioned before, because of the sagging. So it's looking good. From the inside, you can see a little bit more of how it's setting up. This dark area is not the entire part we did today. It's probably about 3 days worth, maybe more than that in places. So slowly it cures. It's a great time of year to be doing this, and that's what it's looking like. Probably won't film the next 2 layers. The next 2 layers will probably close us up there, but I'll be doing them from the inside, and my head will be in that garage door track, so that'll be awkward for filming, but I will check back and show you what it looks like with all the mud finished. You can see we're also using extra to cover the bags on the bottom. Slowly but surely, it's coming along. We are making gains, bit by bit and step by step to get where we want to go. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And before you know it, you've made some good progress. So that's what we're doing around here. Hope you're enjoying your time. It is now the beginning of December. We just had a beautiful Thanksgiving here. Hope you did as well wherever you are. And I hope you will plan to check back with us here next week at Wickiup Knoll Off Grid to see what we do next.